What's going on, YouTube? Flagship luxury SUVs have been getting a lot of attention recently, since many of them have been getting redesigned. The newest option to enter the segment right now is the all-new 2025 Infiniti QX80, which has taken the brand to new heights. But there is also another venerable nameplate from a Japanese luxury automaker, the Lexus LX 600. So, which of these two is going to coddle you the most for over $100,000? Well, let's go ahead and find out. While it's not much of a consideration for people spending well over six figures on a vehicle, we will still go ahead and mention the pricing quickly before we get into all the exterior, interior, cargo, and driving elements. Starting with the Lexus, we have one of the highest trim levels, called F-Sport. All in, we're setting at a steep $113,000. Pretty much everything about the QX80 is new for the brand, but this loaded autograph also represents a new ceiling for pricing. Its price tops out at $112,590. By the way, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing information for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. It's a great tool for shopping, so be sure to check the link in the description for more information. If you're new to our comparisons, we conduct them in an objective way. We've done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories. And towards the end, we will go over a new thing we're adding to our comparisons: resale and reliability information. But let's go ahead and get started. Now, the name of the game with this kind of SUV for a long time was bling and shiny things everywhere, but that has begun to fade away. You can see that with these two, which still have some chrome and silver elements, but have largely moved to dark finishes on the grills. Despite the unique designs, they both have full LED projector headlights, neither have fog lights, and the Infiniti has animations. Heading on around to the side, this is a great place to get a sense of just how big these two SUVs are. Lengthwise, the QX80 has a huge advantage of over 11 inches. You'll see later on in this comparison how much space these SUVs have on board. And neither SUV offers an extended wheelbase option like Escalade and Navigator. Regardless, 22-inch alloys attempt to fill out the large wheel wells. And the QX80 Autograph also gives you two-tone roof options. Moving to the rears, the QX80 has a rounded glass look that covers up the D-pillar. And as far as features, they both have fully LED taillights, spoilers, hidden exhaust outlets, and a hidden wiper on the Infiniti. As body-on-frame SUVs, they also have tow hitches in the back with large amounts of capability, 8,000 and 8,500 pounds of towing, giving the Infiniti the edge. Now, as far as other features, both have fully loaded mirrors, and they both also have every single active safety feature as standard equipment in these loaded trim levels. Furthermore, they have advanced systems that allow for some hands-free driving, but the Infiniti's ProPilot system is more capable than the Lexus system, which only works at under 25 miles per hour. Warranty-wise, both models are covered longer than their German rivals, but the QX80 has some additional benefits. Its basic warranty lasts 10,000 more miles, and it has 3 years of complimentary maintenance over the LX. Anyway, that's the end of the exterior, but the bigger part of this comparison is definitely on the insides, so let's get into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
So walking up to the vehicles, both are obviously going to have smart entry systems to unlock the doors. And the door handles are electronic on the Infiniti, so they pop out on approach. Interestingly, neither of them has power running boards or soft closed doors, despite the prices. Now, glancing inside the interiors of these two, you'll see very different design themes, but plenty of luxury regardless. Let's start off the details with the seats. In both luxury SUVs, we have semi-aniline leather seating, with very different shades of red to say the least. Of course, they are also heated, ventilated, and have memory functions. And they're also highly adjustable with extra adjustments such as thigh extension. The other nice thing on this QX80 is full power massage for relaxation after a long day at work or out on the golf course. Now getting inside and breaking down the bigger point of overall material quality. These two both have impressive elements. Obviously, we have lots of leather, genuine metal or wood, and other soft touch materials abound on both. But the new QX80 does a better job of spoiling the occupants with special touches like a suede headliner. Now let's start to look around and assess individual items, starting with our gauge clusters. While the Infiniti moved on to a 14-inch display attached to the main one, like the Escalade, the Lexus continues with a more traditional design. It's only partially digital, so you would have a lot more options in the QX80, and both models have head-up displays as you would expect. Pulling back, both SUVs have heated, power-adjusting, leather-wrapped steering wheels, as well as rain-sensing wipers. Next up is the major point category of interior storage, where, as you might expect, both excel. In addition to a lot of storage, each model has opted for the cool box refrigerator to keep your drinks cold. Those are effectively the same size, and they both have wireless phone charging pads, but the QX80 Space Advantage kicks in with its center pass-through underneath of the console. That is due to the compact nature of the QX80's push-button shifter, versus the Lexus with a regular shifter. When you shift into reverse, both SUVs have the expected 360-degree cameras with many view selections. But the QX80 has advanced options such as a 3D view, and expanding the front camera view to the gauge cluster screen. But before we get into all the other tech in the main screens, it's time to talk audio. It goes without saying that these high-end audio systems both sound terrific, with 24 and 25 speakers respectively. Sound quality is top-notch on both, and very enjoyable to listen to in both, so we will call this area even. Moving on from that, let's talk climate controls, which are one of the few areas that are similar between the two of them. They both decided to utilize a separate screen for most of the functionality, but the LX makes it easier to adjust the temp while driving, with physical controls for that. Additionally, the Lexus has 4 independent zones instead of 3 on the Infiniti. And the QX80 fights back with an industry-first feature, biometric cooling. This system uses sensors to actually monitor the driver and passenger's body temperatures and adjust the climate according to that instead of just the cabin temperature. This would eliminate the need to adjust the temperature after a big workout, for example. Alright, so now that we are past the unusually complicated climate controls, let's talk about those main screens. Again, Lexus goes traditional here with a 12.3-inch pop-up style screen. The QX80's infotainment screen is 14.3 inches, and also visually has better resolution and graphics. As far as features, both have navigation and wireless versions of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, with the main difference being that the QX80 has Google Apps built in, like Maps and Assistant. Finally, for the front of the cabins, both have auto-dimming mirrors, but only the QX80 has a camera system. Additionally, only the Infiniti has a panoramic sunroof, which is not offered at all on the Lexus. Now let's head for the important back areas. Right off the bat, you can see that the QX80 goes for the executive-style seating arrangement, while the Lexus makes that available only on the $130,000 ultra luxury model. But if you want that extra person, this is something to consider. Now as far as space is concerned, the LX is more similar to a midsize SUV than a full-size, which means it falls behind the Infiniti in terms of legroom. Space aside, when you're sitting in the seats, you will be spoiled with luxury amenities. The QX80 seats are power adjusting instead of manual, and both are heated and ventilated. However, only the Infiniti has massage back here as well, unless you get the $135,000 Ultra Luxury. While some may prefer the extra seat on the Lexus, which cannot get captain's chairs unless you go for the top model again, this Infiniti has a center console with storage and a screen to adjust all kinds of settings. There are still even more features to mention. Neither model has rear seat entertainment screens, the Infiniti has more plugs, and only the Lexus has sunshades for the side windows. Alright, now let's move to the next row. Previously, the QX80's third row was not a great place to spend time, but with this new model, they have created a very nice space. We do see a space and comfort discrepancy here in favor of the QX80, since the Lexus only has 2 seats back here, less leg and headroom for those seats, and it has less thigh support for those seats since they're further off the ground. As the cherry on top, the Infiniti adds heating for those way back seats. Moving around back to the cargo, both have hands-free power tailgates, and once open, the QX80 again has the advantage with the seats in every configuration. At the maximum level, there's a gigantic 44.8% difference between the two of them, which is certainly something worth considering if you like to travel with a lot of stuff. Both have power folding third rows and spare tires. So now let's take this fight to the streets and see how they stack up. As we head out in the streets, you'll find similarities that haven't existed yet in most other parts of this comparison. Both have traded the V8s of their past generations for turbocharged 6-cylinder power, making 409 and 450 horsepower in the Infiniti and Lexus respectively. The QX80 also has more torque, making it the faster of the two.
Alright, there's a 0 to a little past 60 miles per hour in this all-new 2025 Infiniti QX80. Now, I'm sure you're probably noticing the exhaust sound and engine noise, that it's not the same V8 that it was previously for the QX80. We've actually switched to an all-new powertrain setup. It's a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. But as far as power is concerned, we do have really healthy numbers. So the reason they've made the switch to the V6 is to give you that additional power and torque. We're going to be sitting at 450 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. All right. There is quickly up to 60 miles per hour in the 2024 Lexus LX 600. Well, that 600 unfortunately does not mean you have a 6-liter V8, but we do still have a very powerful engine under the hood. It's a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6. That altogether is making 409 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. So certainly power figures are very healthy in this LX.
As far as the transmissions are concerned, the Infiniti has a 9-speed automatic, and the Lexus a 10-speed automatic. Having more gears doesn't make a transmission better per se, and in this case, they are both very smooth and responsive. Power is put to the ground via 4-wheel drive systems.
There's an example of that smooth, effortless acceleration. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the 10-speed automatic transmission that we have on board for this LX. It's a good transmission. I have no complaints whatsoever. It's a good mate to the engine setup. It really just kind of blends into the background as you want out of a luxury SUV like this. As other aspects of this powertrain experience, you have a 9-speed automatic transmission for all QX80s this year. Overall, we've been driving this vehicle quite a lot, so we've already been behind the wheel for about 4 hours at this point. So we had quite a bit of time to feel how this transmission performs, and it's a very smooth mate to this 3.5-liter V6 motor.
While these SUVs have bones that underpin very off-road capable models overseas, the Patrol and Land Cruiser, these luxury variations will spend far more time on-road than off-road. As such, let's talk about ride quality. Now, both SUVs have height-adjustable suspensions, but the Lexus is using a hydraulic version with adaptive dampers instead of a more common air suspension. Both ride nicely, but this means that the Infiniti rides better when going down bumpy roads because it can cancel out larger imperfections and let in less vibrations. Furthermore, it has a dynamic digital suspension system that works hard to reduce body roll and is quite effective when you take this beast on a back road.
But speaking of a luxury SUV, it needs to ride really nice as well. So let's dive into ride quality. I don't want to leave that discussion for any later in this video. The ride quality is very good with this QX80. I was very curious to see how this vehicle is going to ride compared to other flagship luxury vehicles in this segment. And the good thing about this model is that now it has a full air suspension. This is actually an Infiniti first feature for this QX80. I'm about to go over some bumps here. That'll kind of demonstrate for you that you are going to have really good ride quality. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the best ride quality in the segment because it's not quite as good as some of the rivals that are including air suspension. So keep that in mind. The LX offers a height adjustable suspension. It's not an air suspension, which does mean that you're going to miss out a little bit on that comfort aspect.
Now, even though both these SUVs will live life predominantly on-road, I do still want to give Lexus credit where it's due. It has much more of the off-road features and equipment from the Land Cruiser, such as crawl control.
You do also have full-time four-wheel drive. I mentioned this, throughout various parts of the review, but this is a very off-road capable vehicle, more so than an Escalade for sure. It's probably one of the most off-road capable in the entire segment, aside from stuff like a Range Rover. So it does have that capability if that's what you're looking for, and to go with that, you have the full-time four-wheel drive.
It's also important that luxury SUVs are quiet, which is why here at Car Confections, we take a sound level reading for every vehicle that we test out. Decibel readings are on a logarithmic scale, and the smallest difference an adult can usually discern is 1 decibel, which this has. That being said, we tested the QX80 on a press drive in California, so we can't officially score this area until we have it back home in Kentucky on the same roads.
Now we're speeding up to 55 miles per hour so we can do our signature sound level reading. I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious about that in this vehicle, so let's go ahead and get it.
Yep, we are at fan speed 1, rear climate is off. Very nice. We're going to settle at 52.1 decibels. 53.7.
Finally, when it comes to fuel economy, the Lexus outperforms the Infiniti by a couple mpg across the board. In our reviews and comparisons, we are also adding in reliability and resale information to give you a better picture of the overall value beyond just the original MSRP. Beginning with reliability, we developed the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more realistic picture. Lexus is the highest rated luxury brand, ranking 10 slots above the industry average for all vehicle makes, and awarding it plus 1 point. Infiniti is below the industry average, 5 slots below to be exact, reducing its score by a half point. We also put Mason's economics degree to work to develop a detailed predicted resale value tool. After 5 years and 60,000 miles, Lexus retains a predicted 53.8% of its value, and Infiniti comes in at 41.2% after 5 years. That gives the Lexus plus 1.2 points. Resale is obviously important because it determines how much money you get back, but we can't forget about the price difference at the original purchase. The Lexus costs $700 more than the Infiniti. But, according to our scale, this isn't worth considering with points due to how expensive they are. I want to emphasize that if money, reliability, or resale value matter less to you personally, feel free to disregard these points. And if you'd like to check out all our data about resale and reliability values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and /reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, and this is a great place to compare all the makes that you might be cross-shopping.
All right, so that is the end of this comparison, but let's go ahead and recap a little bit about who should be your personal winner based on what matters most to you. So the LX should probably be your choice if you're really looking for the best resale value as well as the highest rated reliability. Of course, Lexus LX does have that recall out right now, but historically speaking, it has been a very highly rated luxury brand, actually the #1 luxury brand reliability. Also, the enhanced off-road capability because it is based on the Land Cruiser and those special features, and it also gets better fuel economy.
Now, the QX80 should be your choice on the flip side. If you want the latest and greatest technology, of course, you're going to get really good tech in that all-new model that's state-of-the-art. Additionally, you're going to have a few more luxury features than you will find on the LX, the back seat, namely, as well as the third row. And lastly, it does have the air suspension, which is a big deal in this segment because it gives you better ride quality, and it also gives you a little bit better driving dynamics and performance out on the back roads. Now, which one of these two Japanese luxury SUVs are you taking? Are you taking the all-new QX80 or the tried-and-true Lexus LX? Let us know your thoughts down below. And if you're looking to buy either of these new SUVs or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this comparison. If you enjoyed, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. That helps us to make more comparisons like this, as well as our signature full reviews. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.